I could just excuse myself and say that I wasn't sure which door led to where. No! Oh, I feel like I made a bad choice, guys! Greetings, my beautiful viewers. I am the Hunter of Comedy, and welcome back to The Letter. So, last time, we finished up with Zach's story, and he took a picture of a creepy ghost. Didn't get himself super murdered because I was smart. And now we are Marianne, who has the most beautiful and wonderful singing voice I've ever heard in my entire life. And we're gonna decide whether or not she's gonna have sex with the asshole. Yeah, that's where we left off. It has been a full day. It's been a full day since the last episode. My relationship with Luke is about to go down. 'Cause I don't want her to do it. I don't want her to have sex with him, so I'm not gonna let her.
We're both drunk.
Oh my god, it actually improved? I thought I was making a bad choice. I thought he was gonna be pissed that he's not getting the hanky-panky.
And...
This is wrong. Don't you think it's a bit fucked up that we're about to have sex and we're just calling each other by the drinks that we had? How messed up are we?
Doll, shut up with the ethics and morality talk. It is seriously putting me out of the mood.
If you want to leave now, Whiskey, I understand. I mean, with how smashed you are, it'd probably be best for you to sleep the night unless you want to be mugged. But I won't stop you. And this isn't going to happen.
Bloody hell.
Cock blocked! Yeah! Oh my god, I can't believe that actually was the quote-unquote good choice! I honestly can't believe that. I thought I was making like a super... Here's the thing, I was like, no, you two people really should not do this, because here's the thing. If two adults get super intoxicated and have sex, that's on them. That's their own fault because they did that. But it doesn't change it from being kind of a stupid thing. So, yeah. Of course, he's annoyed at me for putting off our night of sexual congress. But no means no, yes! And beyond spewing a few profanities under his breath, he surprisingly simmers down soon enough. I was worried for a moment he might try to force something. Instead, he makes a show of fixing his suit and smoothing his hair before making himself comfortable on the nearest seat he can find.
What are you doing then? You have a guest in your home. Put the damn kettle on. Dandelion tea if you have it. But I suppose all you have are those shitty tea bags from the store.
If it isn't for the absurdity of this turn of events, I would have flipped him off for thinking I have no taste. But in the end, I just laugh. All I got are cans of Korean ginseng and lemon balm, though. No dandelion. Without a second thought, I do wet the tea. That's 3 minutes to get the kettle to boil. 3 minutes where we say nothing to each other. I mean, what do you even say to the guy I was going to sleep with until I changed my mind? I doubt he's in the mood to talk about the influence of Troyzon Malloy. It's still unusual by the time... It's still unusual by the time we're both seated on my bed, mugs of tea in hand.
Just so you know, whatever is going on right now is a lot stranger and fucked up than the one night stand.
I don't know! This seems more interesting.
We are two messed up individuals by your logic.
Everything is messed up, if you ask me. War, terrorism, famine, poverty, loved ones and loved lost. This whole world is a cesspool.
The dead air is telling me when it fills the room once more. One would think this is the perfect time to burst, to spill about whatever issues that made us the fucked up person that we are today. And it is. But I guess some part of me would rather not put the weight of my problems on someone else's shoulder. It wouldn't be fair to leave that to a person when I don't even know if we'll ever see each other again. Sooner rather than later, we both pass out on the bed, mugs left forgotten on the floor. They did not have sex. I feel like I did a good. I don't care what anyone says, I feel like I did a good. When I wake, whiskey is already gone. A bottle of painkillers and a note on the table are the only evidence that I wasn't alone last night. How does he know her name is Marianne? How does he know that? He must have seen something, like, in the place. I don't even question where these are from, or just how he knew my real name. I'm grateful for something to help with the hangover. Might as well. Wow. That went completely different than I thought it was gonna. Marion went to the crawl bar. Oh wait, no, that's not new. This is what it is. Marianne and Whiskey went back to her condo after having one too many drinks. However, Marianne changed her mind about the one-night stand and ended up sharing tea with him instead. The next morning, the stranger left nothing but a note and a bottle of painkillers. Dear God, this is... I didn't... Okay, here's the thing. I expected Luke to be like a son of a bitch and demand the sex and be an asshole. But no, he was like... After she was like, no means no, he was like... Well then, let's just have some fucking tea. And they do. And then they pass out. And that's it. And I'm like, that is... I don't know why that happened, but that was definitely not a route I thought the game was going to go. I have to say, I am really impressed the game didn't do something stereotypical like him try to force himself on her, or at least like try to like coerce her into sex. No. When he realizes she wasn't going to have it, he didn't force the issue. He didn't try to manipulate her or anything. God damn it. I don't like Luke. He's a son of a bitch. He's a womanizing, cheating son of a bitch. And yet he's not the scum of the earth. Why, game? Why are you trying to make me like him? Oh, I forgot to read that. I have a job to do. It isn't often that I think about drinking on the job. But after meeting with the Wrights yesterday, really makes me want to break my self-imposed rules. Because first off, fucking damn Whiskey was fucking damn Mr. Right. Top it all off, they had somehow forgotten to inform me they didn't own the Ermengarde mansion yet when they hired me. What sort of person does that?
Ugh, rich people.
You answered your own question. I could do nothing but twiddle my thumbs, however. Twiddle my thumbs and wait for the go signal. It's not like I can accept other small projects. This is a big job, and I should be ready to start it on it at any time. Not to mention that my PA practically begged me to be patient and wait this out. It was a hard decision to agree, but I did so in the end. Besides, I'm doing this for the Ermengarde mansion, not for anything or anyone else. I'd have a headache whatever I do anyway. I'd go to the pub again, but seeing what happened a few hours ago, I'd rather not end up in the bed with another potential client. And it might be a huge leap in logic, but a library is the next biggest thing after the pub. I have to go there anyway. I need more books. For Dad. Plus, I also need to return the ones I borrowed last time. Finding a new book or two to read for myself, while I have nothing to do, isn't such a bad idea either. So on a Saturday morning, I find myself going to the only library in Luxburn to, hopefully, hopefully, cool off. Oh, look at the guy with the backwards cap. No one does that. Not anymore. It's stupid. After returning Erzuli, and a poetry book by Henry of Parabradi, I asked the librarian about the several titles on my list, though I don't have much luck on that front. Dialogue with Death has already been snatched, and she bluntly said she did not keep our mathematical universe for someone who didn't return books on time. Sad. Sad, but makes sense. I make headway, at least, when I ask about Siege and Rendition of Havana by Jacob de Pizzula. If you count her snarling and pointing at the history section as headway, that is. The history section is devoid of any other except for myself and a redhead, though I'd wager a guess that Red's just passing by to get to the classical literature section. So many books, so little time. Scanning the books and seeing so many wonderful titles gives me great pleasure. And that's when I spot it.
Hello, sailor. Why don't you come to Mama?
Ooh, History of Luxborn Architecture, first edition. It's not the naval battle book I was looking for, no. It's even better. The newly acquired History of Luxborn Architecture, first edition, too. I know I just have to get it. I've been waiting to get my hands on the book for so long. The fact there's only one copy proves to be a problem, though, when Red reaches out for the same thing I do.
I think I had this first, miss.
I can only stare her down when she refuses to let go of the book. Refusing to let go of it as well, I raise a brow at her in the hopes that the fact that I was significantly taller than her would intimidate the girl. Even then, she refused with a rebellious look.
This isn't exactly light reading, miss. I mean, do you even know which architect was at the forefront of 18th century Irish architecture?
A beat. She blinks and I can't help the smirk on my face, which is wiped off when she opens her mouth.
Edward Lovett Pierce, who established the Palladian style through his work with Castletown House and Irish Houses of Parliament.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. When do I get to play as Rebecca? She seems awesome. God, Rebecca is just so badass, man. It's going to be interesting when I get around to her side of the story. By the way, I almost forgot to mention, and I'll just mention this now. So, I found out that most of the voice actors in this game are actually pretty well known. And I don't mean like, only one of them has worked for like dubbing companies and stuff like that. And that is the voice actress of Hannah, that is Amanda Lee Connors. But most of the other actors or actresses are actually very popular, like, quote-unquote amateur actors on YouTube. Like, for example, Luke is voiced by Takahata 101, and I never would have known that. Zach is voiced by Antfish, who is also a part of Team 4-Star. A popular, singer who I've listened to, so many of her covers is Lian Lee, and she's Isabella! Oh my dear God, so many really good people are in this game. And the voice of Marianne is an Irish actress who actually is, an Irish actress in the UK and does have a beautiful singing voice, and oh my God, I love her so much. But I also know that the voice actress for Rebecca is also pretty well known in the YouTube circuit. I haven't seen very much of her myself, but this explains why the voice acting is so top-notch. Because here's the thing. When I was listening to them, something struck me as I was like, oh, these are really good. And, the worst nitpick I've had about the voiceover in this game has been the occasional bit, because I'm wearing headphones and I have very sensitive hearing. And I don't mean, sensitive. I mean, I tune in, intensely when I'm, listening. especially the voices, I can hear the tiniest bit of echo for some of the actors, but that's because more than likely they were directed over Skype calls and everything, and either way, like, that's the only real nitpick I have about the voice acting. Otherwise, it's freaking fantastic, and the voice director for this game, I want to give a personal, like, kudos to, because whoever they are, they made this perfect. Like, over half the time, the reason you get, like, a bad dub or a bad, cartoon show, like, where the acting is weird, is mostly because of the directing. Because most of the time, if you have a good director who can, like, tell you what's going on and give you a feel for what you're doing, you can do fantastic. If you don't, yeah, you may not do so well. Regardless, this is an amazing cast, and hello, Rebecca. I still love you. You're still awesome.
This bridge was destroyed in this year to delay French troops while under the regency of Mary of Guise.
That is not what I was expecting. Let's be honest, how many people would know these history facts? Aside from me, anyway.
Going right to the obscure ones, aren't you? Easy enough. Tullybody Old Bridge in Clackmannanshire, Scotland, on the January of 1560, if we want to be specific.
Suddenly it's a game where we throw these history questions and facts at each other back and forth in hushed tones unless we want to be thrown out of the library. After a while, it goes from some strange competition into this strange but friendly banter, if it could be called that. But as fun as it is, the exchange soon slows down until we're grinning at how odd this whole scene is.
Marianne McCulloch, my desire for potatoes doesn't quite match what the stereotypes suggest.
Rebecca Gales, the Scots' supposed hatred for the English wasn't enough to stop me from teaching their little spawns.
By then, we had forgotten our little tug-of-war, although she still holds the book in her hands. I had let go of it without realizing it when she answered my first question.
History teacher, then?
Got it in one.
No wonder you gave me a run for my money. Now, if we're talking about architecture, I'd blow you out of the water. You're from where? Luxburn Uni?
Oh no, just St. Goretti's.
Ah yes, Saint Goretti. You'd think a school would choose a more appropriate saint to name themselves after, especially when they have very young students. Is something wrong with Goretti? I don't know who that is. Hi there, Future Brandon here. I thought I would take a look and see just what Saint Goretti, what the school was named after, and exactly who Saint Goretti was. Because past Brandon wasn't smart enough to look at it at the time. Regardless, Saint Maria Goretti was an Italian virgin martyr of the Catholic Church, and one of the youngest canonized saints. A canonized saint is someone who is declared a saint after they are dead. What she is most famous for is that she grew up in a household with another family named the Serenellis. Now, the Serenellis family and her family both worked together to work the fields, and they were a fairly normal household. They were a farming community and a farming household. One afternoon, Alessandro, the 20-year-old son, made sexual advances on her. She was 11. When she refused to submit to him, he stabbed her 14 times. She was taken to the hospital, but unfortunately died of her injuries. However, she forgave him before her death. And because of that, he repented, went to prison for 27 years, eventually begged forgiveness from her mother, which she granted, and he later joined the monastery to forever make up for what he did. And this is who the school is named after. Not him, but a brave young girl who did not allow herself to be victimized. At the same time, I kind of see what Marianne's talking about with the whole, they named the school after an attempted rape victim who was stabbed to death. Yes, I definitely understand that's a bit, weird. I mean, I understand that a lot of Christian and Catholic schools like to name their schools after saints, and they would definitely see her as a saint, so I can see them wanting to name the school after someone as pure as her, but I don't think they thought about the far-reaching implementations of that. Regardless, that's all I got for you. This is Future Brandon signing out. Take it away, past Brandon.
And I'm guessing you're an architect, if you're so confident about the subject.
Interior designer, Miss Gales.
Please, just call me Rebecca. You aren't one of my students, are you?
Marianne, then.
I could have said that I was an architect, but there's no point in explaining why I wasn't one anymore.
So, I've never seen you before. I'd like to think I've met every history aficionado in town.
I blame the rock I've been hiding under, of course. That, and I'm usually only here on the weekdays if time allows. Work often has me meeting clients on the weekends.
That must be interesting work.
It allows for some creative freedom, sure, but it's like working with children sometimes. Though you probably have it harder working with actual children. The hardest part is convincing them that your idea is their idea.
That sounds exciting.
It is!
But isn't that true for any workplace, though? We just cross our fingers and hope there aren't any man-children in charge of important things.
Yes! That is how life works, damn it.
Any big projects right now? I can't imagine that interior designing is a frequent thing.
I'm working on the Ermengarde mansion. Lucky me. That mansion. Inta. Wonderful. Breathtaking. I can't wait to start in it. Now that is beautiful architecture.
Pause. Looks like she wants to say something at my mention of the house. I'm not surprised. The place is certainly popular with the locals, especially with the urban legends attached to it. In the next second, though, she seems to think better of it and drops what she's about to say.
So, do you have a portfolio or anything I can take a look at? I'd love to see your designs. Maybe you have some on a tablet. I've met some designers before, and they're always going crazy over these virtual room apps or another.
A tablet? Please. Callicrates didn't need those silly iTabs when he built the Parthenon. I certainly don't need one to design a house.
Computer back at my place is all I have. Why should I buy an expensive gadget that will get outdated within the year, when what I have is just as functional? The traditional ways had a far more personal touch, in my opinion. Not to mention, these smartphones are awful tools of procrastination. I can't even count on one hand the number of people I see going outside only to have their eyes glued to the things. And fuck touchscreens. They're evil things that make typing what should have been a simple task harder.
I do have an online portfolio if you'd like. I can...
Speaking of, or thinking of, the devil seems to have summoned it, because before I can carry on, Rebecca's attention wanes and she pulls out her mobile. For what I can only assume is a call, she gives me an apologetic look before standing up and excusing herself. Off further into the aisle she goes for some privacy. I do my best to give it to her as well, trying to tune her out.
Well, is something wrong? Lunch at the coffee house? Sure, I can make it. I'm not too far. I can be there in 10.
With how quiet the surrounding is, she can't blame me if I overhear snippets of her conversation. When she returns with a sheepish look on her face, I know that our friendly chat has to be cut short.
Sorry, I have to go and meet with some friends.
Oh no! How horrible! You have friends to go meet. I mean, yeah, it's sad that you didn't get to become better friends, but still, you can bond over your traumatic experience of the fucking ghost.
It's fine. Totally fine. No need to even apologize.
About the book.
Her embarrassment increases twofold, when she realizes she's still holding on to the history of Luxborn architecture. I don't give her time to think about it. As I put up a hand and shake my head, fishing on a pen and paper from my bag alone with one of my business cards, I hand them over to her.
You know, I'm busy with work, so I might not even be able to take a peek at it anytime soon. You can go ahead and have it, but you'll have to ring me up when you're returning it just so I can snag it right away. Deal?
She makes quick work, penning her number down and handing it back to me with a grin.
Deal. Just message me during school hours, of course. You have a good day then.
I may have mentioned it before, but this game has jiggle physics. But for some reason I only remember them really being on Rebecca and no one else. I don't know why. I'm not upset. I'm just confused at why only her.
You too.
With Rebecca gone, I'm left alone standing in the history section. Although my original plans were simply to sit down and read a good book, our little pop quiz, if you can call it that, made the time pass by without any of us even realizing it. It was fun, and I do believe I've made a new friend. Good job, Marianne. Yes, good job indeed. Even with the talk of lunch, however, I don't feel like grabbing a bite to eat. There's still some other books to be read here, and I'm hoping to find something that will help me while I'm with the rights. Something like How to Deal with Arseholes Professionally 101, just in case. I've dealt with a lot of uppity, snooty, rich clients before, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Because Luke Wright just takes the fucking cake. He probably manages to eat it too. It seems the world is conspiring to keep me from my me time. We do that at home, unless you're an exhibitionist. As my mobile vibrates in my pocket the moment I find something from the shelves of the classical literature section.
Marianne McCulloch, Charlie Rose Design speaking.
Rose Cooper here, Miss McCullough. I hope I didn't catch you at a bad time or anything, but I just wanted to check in and tell you that we've got the clear to hand over the documents. Madam Wright told us that we should forward the floor plans to you.
Already? How did they go through the process so fast? Surely there is so much red tape to even acquire the forms in the transferring of rights. No matter how rich the rights are, it shouldn't be this quick, right?
So, if I can just have your email, I'll be sending them your way.
I'd actually like a physical copy of the floor plans.
Oh, I suppose that's fine. I'm not at the office right now, but I can inform Miss Santos of your request.
I'll make sure to drop by the office after lunch if that's fine.
Not a problem. Right. Well, cheers.
Right. Cheers.
Rose sounds different. I'm guessing that... Yeah, this is the night before she gets murdered, so... I'm guessing something... Maybe she already saw something, I don't know. I just don't. Is there some sort of deeper miscommunication when we last met? These things take time. It's been, what, a day? Less than that, even. There isn't even a point in trying to make sense of these people who seem to be larger than life. Oh, we skipped, like, a couple of days. Marianne befriended Rebecca Gales during a visit to the library. Marianne received a call from Rose Cooper afterwards, informing her that the Ermengarde mansion's floor plans were ready for pickup at their office. As it looks like I'm on the clock starting today, I might as well eat. Grabbing some fish and chips from one of the street food stalls, I find a table to spend time with a copy of Marquis de Sade's The Crime of Love, since Rebecca left with the book I wanted. I've read this one before, along with the rest of his works. This would be the 18th time, in fact. Damn! It's always nice to read it through, though, when I don't have time to enjoy something new. Besides, when you're dealing with people so filthy rich that they just end up plain filthy, you need the good old Marquis' sound advice.
La blessure se trouvant sans aucune sorte de conséquence.
The wound being without any consequence. Of course, it's folly to think that things have no consequence when everything actually does. Briar-Riley Corporation's Luxburn branch isn't too far off from the city center, just a few blocks away. I can easily walk and eat. I'd rather use this time to rest before I go into a flurry of activity. No doubt there'll be so much to do once we get hands on with the mansion.
Still a lot better than working on another condo, at least.
Surely, no matter how much BRC and the old owners put into the restoration and preservation of the place, any big repairs would be superficial at most. I'm quite certain that, in their haste to sell the property, they did a rush job. It isn't an infrequent thing to do, despite how it is frowned upon. There'll be a lot of hidden issues that I will need to weed out. I have to make sure I find every single one of them, especially the most serious damage. Structural integrity is definitely on the top of the list we will have to consider. Okay, I finally pinpointed it. I know this is a strange thing, but I finally pinpointed what's so weird about the dialogue. Not the dialogue. The dialogue's great. The descriptions. They're a little too wordy. Like, some of the, like... I learned in a writing class years ago that you don't want to write too much. You want to write just enough, but you don't want to write too much. Because sometimes, like, I'm going to use this last sentence as, like, a thing. Structural integrity is definitely on the top of the list we will have to consider. You could literally just say, structural integrity is definitely on, like, at the top of the list, period. You don't need that. We already know that you're considering most of these things. You don't need this. So, yeah. The writing's a little wordy, and that's what's throwing me off in my reading sometimes, is that I'm like, no, that's not a proper flow. It doesn't flow when you read it aloud. And I'm guessing the point is that most of these are not read aloud, because most people don't read these games aloud. But I do because, you know, for you guys. So, what I'm trying to say is that being a little too wordy is actually a problem. The building might look sturdy, but is centuries old. That alone will likely pose a few problems here and there, put limitations on what we can do. Besides, despite how much I detest those rich snobs, they can pay rather handsomely. So as long as I do an excellent job and do more than necessary. Those two things always made sure the referrals keep coming. I don't even have to hunt down projects for myself. Last time I was here, it was not a fun time. It was not a fun time at all. When I do go up to the BRC's office, I can't help but stop and stare when I enter the building. With the lunch hour closing, employees should have been back already. If they still aren't filtering through the doors. I get that it's a Saturday, that people probably feel tired and lazy to be working on a weekend. But they're still on the clock, and not bumming about, wasting company time on extended lunch breaks and cigarette sessions. The office is spacious, as it is with these big corporations. Each person is given their little space of what's usually a 2x2 meter cubicle. There's a lot more empty chairs than there are actual people working at their desks. It reminds me far too much of my last day at Porizkova Projects during the massive layoffs due to the Irish economic crisis. But it isn't just that, though. Everything is as quiet as the grave. It's as if these people are merely ghosts. Speaking of which, Santos comes through the door looking as if she's just seen one. Which, actually, she has! That's a thing that happened. This is right after she saw the ghost in, like, the window after lunch with her friends. She looks at me, wide-eyed like a deer caught in headlights, ready to bolt at any moment. I'd ask out of concern, but I feel it's not my position to do so. What if it's something personal? I'd simply be overstepping my boundaries. Really, it's none of my business.
I presume that Miss Cooper told you why I'm here, Miss Santos?
Huh? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just got back from lunch, you know? But it won't take too long. Don't worry.
Of course it won't. This whole project has established itself to be a matter done in haste. I do hope it doesn't mean that people are being careless in their duties.
She flinches and looks like she doesn't quite know how to respond to that. Thankfully, instead of opening her mouth, she leads the way toward her station and goes to fetch the floor plans. It won't take too long, as she said, but it does take a bit. Time spent to compose herself, most likely.
You know, we usually just email these things.
I prefer the real thing.
Not that you would know. You probably have your nose stuck in front of a smartphone when you're not working, and even when you should be working, playing those mindless, addictive games. I definitely wish Krish would stop playing that Bat-Cat thingy during work hours, too.
I know what you mean. Digital painting is nice, but nothing beats the smell of real paint. Not that I go and smell paint like a crazy person, but, you know, the real thing is different.
Wait, what?
Yes, nothing is quite like the real thing.
Checking out the floor plans, I see that I'll have a lot going for me. Now I know how Ray felt when he found the Central Park West building floor plans from that one movie. Okay, I want to see where I've been, because I've been to the parlor. I have not been to the music room. That's probably a place that I don't want to go, though. Oh, that may be the place that Zach would have gone into. There's a hall in the basement. There's the ballroom. Oh, that's like the servants' quarters. The gallery. Ooh, the dining hall. There's the kitchen with the wine cellar, although this is reversed. Like, in the actual game, this scene is reversed, because the wine cellar is on the opposite side. Weird. Okay. And upstairs, we have a hallway, a bedroom. There's a theater in there?! Oh my god. Oh, and there's the study, the balcony. Another balcony, there's the attic rooms. Ooh, the master bedroom, which we've seen a little bit of. There's a conference room. And the other attic. Okay. Huh. We have not explored much of this house. I certainly hope we get to later. I really, really hope that we go into different rooms later. This is why I became an architect in the first place. Jacobean style at its finest. It's a thing of beauty. Look at these gorgeous rooms. The delicate harmony between empty spaces. Speaking of empty spaces, there's something rather odd about these ones.
I feel a bit silly saying it out loud because I've never lived in a big house, let alone a mansion. But during the tour, I had the distinct impression that the rooms were bigger. Maybe the scale is wrong? It's not much of a problem. And it is an old house.
There had been little details here and there that I would have liked to address during the open house, too. But it was all forgotten in the wake of Miss Santos's incident and the trouble with ownership. The wine cellar is going to be a problem. I shudder to think what sort of repairs they did to the place. There might have been things that were swept under the rug, pushed in the dark corner of the rooms, hidden away in barrels. Water damage could be covering it up. There had been floods due to heavy rains in West England just last year, after all. And if there's any sort of damage to the house's foundation, there's going to be a lot of work. I was not able to look at the attic as well. You don't want to go up there. For all I know, a whole family of vermin could have made their nests there. Working with pest control is always the worst. The sheer size of the place is staggering. Even if I did just say it was a lot smaller than I thought. I might just be biting off more than I can chew, but who doesn't like a good challenge? First things first, I'll have to...
So, do you want a coffee? The one from the staff room is pretty decent.
There's really no need. I'm sure you have rules against it.
Rules against bringing someone coffee? That's ridiculous. And even if there were regulations against it, nobody's really here to tell Sir John. I've already brought 2 mugs, and I'm not going to drink them on my own. Come on.
Oh, I have to stamp down my annoyance at being distracted. Seeing the girl, the young woman, though, it looks like she has a lot on her mind. If babbling is her way of dealing with stray thoughts, I'm not sure the one she should be babbling. I'm not really the one she should be babbling to. Save, and you have something to say? Relationship improved! Yeah! I give her time to speak up. But when she stares, I clear my throat.
Yes? You have something to say?
As embarrassment creeps up on her face, I snatch one of the coffees from her and take a sip. Too hot?
Just thinking and speaking off the record. It must be fun what you do. You go to people's houses and you make them, well, pretty. You're sharing your art with them.
It's a little bit more complex than that. But if you put it that way, it is fun. I wouldn't have done it for 7 years if it wasn't a little bit fun, I guess.
These big clients always have paintings in their homes. Do you have a supplier for art pieces?
I didn't expect to hear such question from her, seeing how well she handled herself yesterday. I didn't doubt then why she was assigned to an important sale like the Ermengarde mansion despite the little incident she had. Now she just looks too young, too nervous, and unsure of herself. Although her enthusiasm must make up for that in spades. In fact, I wouldn't have believed it if she had introduced herself the way she is at the moment. Watching her now, she actually looks like she should still be in college. Acts a bit like it too when I think about it. I thought she was a teen slumming it out in the mansion when I first saw her there, lying on the ground. Surprise, surprise, she turned out to be one of the real estate agents handling the property.
The clients usually support artists of their own choice. If they don't, I'm always happy to refer those that I know.
That's cool.
They're very picky. I don't think a hobbyist will have an easy time getting their work sold.
Hey, I'll have you know I was a student of the fine arts.
And yet, here you are, selling property. Maybe you weren't a very fine student of the arts.
Wow! My relationship with her just went up! Why the fuck are you being such a bitch? Maybe I took that a bit too far. She bites her cheek and looks like she's barely holding herself back.
It's not like I had a choice.
She mutters it under her breath. I barely even hear it. But the hurt is there. And it makes me wonder what brought it on. Although it is understandable, if for reasons what I think it is, very few people make it big in the art world. I can see why she'd be upset about it, with that enthusiasm. I didn't have a choice when I left Ireland. It was that or years of unemployment. The recession and the toll it took in the construction industry was out of anyone's control. I don't know what choice she wasn't able to make, whether it was about her being an art student or something else. But the world isn't a fair place. And the sooner she accepts it, the better. Still, with that forlorn look in her face, I can't help but sigh. The girl reminds me far too much of myself when I was younger.
Well, if you're thinking of commissioning your paintings, I'll have to see your work first.
Oh, it's not... I didn't mean it like that. I don't have any paintings.
Really? You sounded a lot like you still did art or want to. Now I'm starting to worry that you might just like the smell of paint.
I'm not a paint huffer, sheesh. I just mean I don't make much anymore. I don't really have the time for it. The tools and materials aren't exactly cheap either.
Everything has a price. It sounds like you're making excuses for something you're presumably passionate about. If you really want to practice art, a little out of your wallet isn't much.
It's not that simple.
It's not? Life's simple. People just like to make it complex.
Ah, that is simultaneously true and not true. Oh, God, don't I know it, though.
Speaking off the record, I have some advice for you, kid. Either go for what you want, or stop thinking about it when you have something else. That is unless you enjoy making yourself miserable. Then by all means.
You know, if you wanted to look at the floor plans without me bothering you, you could have just said so.
Would you have left me alone?
We'll never know now, will we?
A strained air settles in the room afterwards. Doesn't help that she doesn't immediately leave, as she has said, lingering awkwardly by the door with that downcast expression. It's clear there's more she means to say, perhaps even to defend herself and her choices in life. Or is she expecting me to dish out more of that advice? It's an awkward affair, and I choose to hightail out of the realty office as quick as I can. Marianne visited BRC to pick up the floor plans. She was assisted by Isabella Santos, and the two shared a brief talk about art, which ended with Marianne leaving a piece of advice to Isabella. Though I'm able to keep myself professional at all times does not mean I like it. And seeing that most of the day has already gone by before I realized it, I choose to head back to my flat instead. Despite today being a Saturday. No fun, at least, but at least this way, I can definitely avoid another unpleasant encounter. Considering how much I'll be seeing whiskey in the near foreseeable future, I have a feeling I'll need all the rest the weekend can give me. For the first time in a long while, excited as I am to work on the mansion, I cannot wait to be over and done with this project. Monday the 24th. What day are we on now? It was the 22nd, so now we're on the 24th. This is the day the bad things happen to Isabella! Oh, fuck! Pretty sure, like, we're gonna get our first, like, scary moment here. Monday couldn't come any sooner. After taking the floor plans from Miss Santos the day before last, I spent most of my Sunday drawing up plans and calling in my suppliers. Although no design choices have been made yet, I'm quite sure that they'd want high-end appliances, the most expensive materials, and the most pretentious everything. They usually did, those rich types, based from experience at least. Given how badly this whole thing started, it wouldn't hurt to be prepared. I have to check myself before I wreck myself, make sure I'm not playing with my gloves as one of the other building tenants takes the elevator up with me. It makes me self-conscious when the woman's eyes go over me, and I'm sure she was going to point out some perceived flaw in my physical appearance. But I'm safe from being paranoid when they went off a few floors later. Still, the ride up to my floor is nerve-wracking. The rights lived at the very top, the penthouse, the creme de la creme when it comes to condominium and urban living. Just getting access to the place is an ordeal in its own. I had to jump so many hoops, so many security checks, just to secure a keycard. Not only because of building management, because of the right's personal security. Weird how that personal security was nowhere to be seen when Zach, like, was prowling around their new home. Seriously. It sometimes felt like I'm being interrogated for a crime and not visiting a client at their house. Even when their personal assistant called in to help out and verify my presence, the process is aggravated rather than hastened. Speak of the devil. Hello, Johan! I like you. The elevator doors open, and I am greeted by none other than Whiskey's not-so-little lackey.
I do apologize if I kept Mr. and Mrs. Wright waiting, but I'm here now and I'm ready, so if I may, where are they?
They've just woken up, but they should be down soon. I'm surprised to see you made it through security. And only 5 minutes late.
You said I'd be through security soon, and it took half an hour. Define soon in this context.
I'd make myself comfortable if I were you. I'm going to go and put the kettle on.
About the tea, I don't want to intrude or anything.
The sir does not like being woken up by the whistling. But who am I to deny tea to a guest?
He shows me to the couch before drifting off to the kitchen, quietly pulling out a teapot and cups and all other sort of things in preparation for the tea. I ignore the animosity toward his employer that his words imply. I wouldn't be too surprised if Whiskey's own people don't like him. Accepting the quiet and isolation instead, I brace myself for what's to come. In this case, soon apparently means more like 5 minutes, or even 10. I sit in their living room, just waiting. And when the kettle starts whistling and the tea has been served, I continue to wait. At least the silence is relaxing. But then there's a crash. I nearly spill tea all over my lap in surprise. I look up expecting security to come running. Even the man at the kitchen counter continues to fix breakfast like he heard nothing. I don't want to speak up about it because he looks far too absorbed in his cooking, and I don't want to be the cause of burnt food or worse. However, there's something in me that just wants to figure out what that was, although I am normally not this nosy. Oh no. God, I really, 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 really want to check it out, y'all. Marianne, you're gonna do us stupid. I'm sorry, Marianne, your life does not seem to be in jeopardy. You're gonna do us stupid. The crash came from the hallway, and I really shouldn't be snooping about. But it's just concern. Yeah, concern that urges me to check it out. Seeking a glance at the butler, I consider sneaking off, but...
Excuse me, but where's the loo?
He barely looks my way before pointing a spatula toward the hallway. It's as good an excuse as any. And if I'm caught lingering longer than I should, I could just excuse myself and say that I wasn't sure which door led to where. No! Oh, I feel like I made a bad choice, guys. I feel like I made a very bad choice. I thought it was gonna be like a scene like with people and not with the ghosty goo. Well, that is the wrong button. I'm sorry. Still looking into the hallway reveals nothing. I don't see anything that might have caused the crash. The hallway, like the rest of the place, is in pristine condition. There are several doors for not only the toilet, but also, presumably, rooms for their butler, and for other staff, and for other members of the staff. As I stand there, however, something definitely feels out of place. That looks like a radio, is what that looks like. One of the doors, nearest within my reach, stands ajar. From inside, a light flickers incessantly. It could simply be a light bulb that needs replacing. But the thought of it in a place so well taken care of seems odd. Off. I think that maybe this is where the crash came from. Inside, I spy a radio lying on the floor. And that's probably it, right? Maybe one of the help in hurry to get out of the room knocked it over in the process. If that's all it is, I really should leave it alone. As I turn to leave, the sound of static fills the air, and a man's tinny voice, maybe it's supposed to be tiny, interrupts the silence.
At 7 in the morning, students found a 5th year dead.
Why am I still standing here?
Assumed to have fallen from her dormitory window.
This seems familiar, doesn't it?
Authorities are investigating the possibility of foul play.
Like I've heard it before.
Reporting from St. Samthins, Shane McLaughlin of Galway Bay, AM.
Oh my god! Okay. Oh my god. Oh, I did not expect that. Oh, my poor heart. Oh my god. I think that was like referencing whatever happened with her and her friend. I think that this woman she keeps talking about, maybe, did she die? Was she like someone who was murdered, maybe? I recoil backing away from whatever that was. In the process, I trip backwards on my feet, and I wait for the pain of falling flat on my back. But instead, I feel a hand on my back and see the smug smile of, well, guess who?
Oh, don't tell me you're reporting to work drunk, Mint.
Of course, I know exactly who that voice belongs to. It just have to be him.
Marianne McCullough, hammered on the job? That would be something.
But...
Wouldn't dream of it, Whiskey. You're allowed to be if you wanted, though it's a bit early for it. So thanks for the save.
Really, it is much appreciated. Even though the circumstances during our first meeting were not savory or wholesome, I can't bring myself to completely look at Mr. Wright in a bad light. Okay, yeah, this is the thing I was waiting for. Marianne visited the Wrights' penthouse to discuss work with the couple. While waiting for them, Marianne decided to investigate a violent crash she heard. In the hallway, there was something odd. Nothing came out of it, after all.
It's no trouble at all. I've been told I have a gift for catching pretty ladies, being a great catch myself.
Oh, God, I still hate you. You're such a dick.
Is that so? Would you say you'll be able to catch if another man were to pitch?
Perhaps, but I wouldn't know. I don't play baseball. Mint.
Right. Of course you don't.
I can't help but chuckle at my little joke, but it looks like it went completely over his head. Yep, she was asking if he plays for the other team, if you know what I mean. If he had understood it, I guess it would have been inappropriate. He is my client, after all. Oh, no, I don't know what to choose. Are we halfway through? Oh, that's the wrong thing. Oh, God, we're just about halfway through all of our save slots. Jeez. Speaking of which, where's Mrs. Wright? Seems like the smartest thing to say. Well, that made him not like me. Why? I don't get that. When I choose a thing that shouldn't upset him, he gets angry at me. When I choose a thing that should upset him, he doesn't get angry at me. This is a weird episode. Whatever little camaraderie I had with whiskey is forgotten, however. I straighten up and glanced behind him, only to find he's on his own. Mrs. Wright is still absent. I still remember my place and why I'm here. To continue in such a manner with her husband would feel like a breach of trust between my client and I.
Since you are here, I don't suppose Mrs. Wright is on her way down? It is 10:30 after all.
She'll be down here in a moment. For now, you have me. Can't I just chat with a good friend?
I don't think a night where we talk like two drunk Egypts makes us good friends. And if you have any bit of sense, it's better to forget that night ever happened.
What? Why not? It was a good night, if a bit boring.
You know exactly why. We both know what your intentions were that night. And to find out that you're married, if there's even an ounce of decency in you, if you'd like the world to be a little less messed up, you'll remember your wife and what you almost did to your Mrs. Wright.
It's better to get that out of the way once and for all. Yeah, see, never mind. I'm happy with this. He still likes her. He's still above the negative, so it's fine, you know?
Well, no need to be such a killjoy about it.
The dead air between us, because it can't be anything else but that, is broken as a lively voice calls out from the loft.
Marianne! I hope I haven't kept you waiting too long. I know we agreed we'd start at 10 o'clock, but mornings just simply do not agree with me. Not one bit. It's been like this since I've been in university.
Oh, I think she was maybe having morning sickness. It's 5 minutes to 11 o'clock. These high-end clients sure like to be fashionably late. I'm used to it, though. Much like how I'm used to so many years of hearing people mispronounce my name. Besides, berating or correcting my client would be extremely impolite. And Marianne doesn't sound too bad when she says it. See, it's read here as Marianne. She pronounces it as... Doesn't she pronounce it as Marianne? Marianne? Maybe it's Marianne. And she's pronouncing it as Mary Ann. A small thing, but and I get why she'd be like, yeah, I don't want people getting that wrong. Very spooked Marianne accidentally bumped into Luke Wright. Although things were awkward between the two, Marianne insisted they keep things professional and simply forget what happened that night. To be fair, it doesn't seem like she's late on purpose.
I see you're up, darling. You know, you could have woken me up as well. Were you showing Marianne around? Not that there's much to see. This place is so tiny compared to the mansion.
I'm worried about the way she stares at me, judging, with such a look. It doesn't suit her pretty face at all. Just seeing Miss Wright reminds me too much of her. And maybe I'll start to hear her again, see her again when I shouldn't. I should have left it all behind, forgotten it. To think she would be looking at me that way. I could just feel my hands tremble.
Oh yes, just showing her around and getting to know each other. Isn't that right, Marianne?
Yes, course. And your butler was making breakfast a while ago. So if you want to get right to that...
Breakfast would be lovely.
There's no denying the clients when they invite me over to the table. Though it is too personal to share a meal in their home, it would be terribly rude to deny their invitation. Oh my god! Besides, the pancakes did look and smell heavenly. Oh, I want it in my mouth right now. Oh, gimme. Oh, I'm so hungry for pancakes now. Oh, but I don't want to go to IHOP right now. It's 12:40 in the morning, and I shouldn't. And I don't mean like past noon. I mean like literally I'm up late at night again doing this. It's funny because I tell myself when I wake up, it's like, oh, I have the day off today. I'm gonna play this all day. And then I don't do it because I'm stupid. And also I'm preparing other videos for YouTube today. So yeah, didn't get much time to record. A bowl of clotted cream, fruits, syrups, jams, and other spreads are laid out next to them and making for a colorful arrangement. If this was a brunch with friends, I would have gladly helped myself to the whole lot. But as it is, I just accepted a few pieces of pancakes and topped it off with lemon and sugar.
You know, I was a tiny bit serious when I said I wanted a helipad.
And you're not serious about the greenhouse, the vineyard, and the stables.
Well, I do want those too, but I know you'll agree to those.
We're talking about interiors here, honey. You don't handle exterior designs and... whatever handles those sets of projects do you, Marianne?
I'm able, actually, and willing to take a project of that nature. I was an architect in Ireland before. Of course, that's another contract entirely. I also suggest we finish the house itself before working on any additions to the rest of the property. There won't be any problems about ownership this time, will there? Pardon if I'm crossing a line, but the acquisition was rather quick.
Oh, don't you worry. We've got everything sorted this time around. I've talked to Miss Cooper and Mr. John from BRC, as well as the old owners. Everything has been paid in full, and all we're waiting for is the paperwork from the land registry. They're letting us move in as soon as we please. It's not like they were living there in the first place.
That's good to hear. The problems that could arise from renovating another person's home would be... well, let's not dwell on it. First off, we'll want to know how you want the place to look. It's pretty furnished as is, but I understand if you want to modernize the whole thing.
Actually, I'd prefer to keep the place looking as it is, but at the same time, I want modern appliances. You worked on the Ludgate's Christchurch summer residence. I do remember there being an oven I thought was a simple drawer before. Make them look vintage, antique, blend in with the rest of the decor.
Customize appliances then. I can't find someone for that, and if you can't tell me what you specifically want, it'll hasten up the process. We're talking about electronic appliance manufacturers. If you have a preferred brand to work with.
Splendid! So, what is next on our agenda? All the other interior designers we've hired in the past did not have us this involved.
I stop. What sort of half-baked designer did that? If I knew who they were, I would have words. This isn't the time or place for it, however. Instead, I'll use this brief pause to pull out the floor plans I brought with me.
We'll have to figure out what you want to do with the rooms. Here, we can have a quick run-through.
What is that little room next to the master's bedroom?
Oh, as far as I could tell when I saw it, it's a second bedroom of sorts. Used, apparently, for the ladies-in-waiting who has served Lady Charlotte Ermengarde. Which is strange, as that isn't the norm for these sorts of houses.
Well, we're not stuffing Johans in there. He won't fit. You don't suppose we could turn it into a walk-in closet and a dressing room?
I love fashion. But do we really need to turn an entire room into a walk-in closet, dear? We'll have large closets and a wardrobe in the bedroom already.
Says the one who takes 3/5 of our closet. Well, what do you suggest we do with it?
I thought a utility room of some sort would be nice. A craft room where I can do fun things. Or maybe a children's room might be nice. You know, for when Kylie comes over. Or if Rochelle visits once she's had a baby.
1, you are not inviting that witch. And 2, there's a whole mansion for Kylie to play in. We don't need a children's room, and you don't even do arts and crafts. I'd like to turn the guest's room and the study into my personal office, by the way. if you don't mind.
You can turn it into a personal office if I can have my utility room. It's just the one room of the many. I'm taking that room for myself, no matter what you say, dearie. So you might as well take this deal. You're always out doing business anyway. The real problem is the theater. Whatever are we going to do with all that space?
Turn it into a badass, like, you know, sound system room? I mean, like, that seems like the best idea.
Fine, we could turn it into our own personal cinema, I suppose.
There you go.
Might as well have it, if you plan on not having a telly in the parlor.
That makes sense.
Yes, well, I don't want guests to be glued to the telly when they come over for a meal and some tea. By the looks of things, we can keep the rooms as what they are on the ground floor, though. The ballroom would be perfect for parties.
Do we really need a dining hall, though? I don't suppose we can't convert it into a garage.
What for? You can park your cars outside.
What about that room? Right there, in the northeast corner.
What? Northeast corner. The basement?
That's sleeping quarters for the household help?
Oh, that is perfect! Johans will be glad if we have other staff members who stayed in. It'd be convenient so they don't have to make the trip from Luxbourne to the mansion when they're needed.
You'll definitely need a lot more people to maintain a property of this size.
The mansion is really a lot bigger than I thought. Look at all these rooms. I didn't even know there was a music room next to the parlor because of what happened.
There was a grand piano in there too, when we checked during the tour.
Did you hear that, Luke? Maybe you can take up playing the piano again. Oh, you should have seen him when we were younger, Marianne.
It's not like I was very good with the thing.
Oh, hush you. You were no Mozart, but I loved hearing you play nonetheless. He'd come over to my home and he'd play such fun tunes. He'd sing too, and I'd dance, and it was just...
Mr. Wright playing the piano? I can't imagine. But the earnest way in which Mrs. Wright said so told otherwise.
Anyway, what do you think of these plans, Marianne?
Are we not even going to consider one of my requests? Not even just a closet or just a garage? Now, that isn't fair, is it? You're not the only one who's going to be living here.
I hardly see how that's unfair. I told you you're getting your office and your theater, the greenhouse, the vineyard, and the stables. That sounds fair, does it not, Marianne?
Oh, I'm good with both of them right now. But you know what time it is? It's time to end today's episode. Oh no, I guess I won't have to make this incredibly difficult decision because whoever I choose, I am pissing off one of them, and Hannah really likes me, and Luke really likes me, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna choose. But either way, thank you everybody so much for watching. I appreciate you being here with me. Oh, we only had one scary moment this whole episode, but like I said, we have at least one scary moment in every episode, and I'm just like, I thought this was gonna be the episode that maybe a scary moment would not happen, but lo and behold, it did. So, next time we're gonna make a dumb choice. I'm not sure which of these two choices I'm gonna make, because they're both staring at me very angrily. Stop judging me with your eyes! But that will be something I will have to deal with next time. So, thanks again, and until next time, have yourselves a beautiful day, my beautiful, beautiful viewers.